scoured the internet and found what you had to say. And now, I shall expose you. Hello beautiful people, I'm the LOVE Welcome to my channel. Oh yeah, of course. Subscribe. This is everything you had to say about Rachel Zane from Suits. I liked her in seasons 1 till 3. She was witty and funny and had great chemistry with Mike and was a great intelligent character. As her and Mike got more serious seasons 4 onward, her development was and I didn't like her character. She's overhated. She made mistakes as a character, but everyone did, and I don't see anyone hating them that much. She was a good partner. Aside from that one mistake she did with Logan that could happen to anyone, and a good colleague and a good friend. I think she's adorable. She's a strong character with a lot of good qualities. She was hardworking, intelligent, and sacrificed for the people at the firm multiple times. She wouldn't take disrespect and fought for her voice to be heard. Barring the Logan episode, it was a good character all in all. She was not as entitled as people point out. She was Zane's daughter and never used it to her advantage. She always stood up for Mike. She worked hard to become a lawyer, all on her own. She could have taken her father's money. She didn't jump ship when Pearson's speculate was in a bad shape and when Robert offered her a position in his firm. All in all, a good character, unnecessarily getting a lot of hate. She's gorgeous, ambitious, and a hard worker. Girl boss. Hot AF. Stunning, intelligent, and too good for Mike. I think she's more strong than whiny. She could even become a Jessica. She was an essentially good person who had flaws and made mistakes like the rest of the characters. But it is those mistakes that people tend to zero in rather than the good things she did and how supportive she was of the other characters. She did of course do things that annoyed me as well, but I think she had a good heart and meant well. She's the reason I started watching the show. Except for the cheating. I like her. Wow. I know some of y'all don't like her, but she's incredibly hot. Rachel always had the drip. I think Rachel's a lovable character, at least for me, and together with Mike, it just felt right. She had a huge heart and a forgiving nature. I thought that Donna, however, became too central to the show. In Mike's trial, it looked to me like only Rachel was the one making all the right calls, even with the immense pressure she was under. She decided it should be Harvey representing Mike, and even in the end, she wanted Mike to let the jury decide because she knows they were going to find him guilty. She's simply the best researcher we have seen in the show, and she can definitely hold her own in front of anyone. Sure, she might not have a photographic memory, but she's an ideal example of how you want your lawyer to be. Sympathetic, awesome, and not dirty at all. I personally think she has the potential to become a good lawyer. She's strong, smart, and independent in spite of her father's influences. She's beautiful and tenacious. I like Rachel when she's not with Mike, which is the problem. She's written as a love interest first and secondary character last. I liked her better in season 1 and 2 with brief moments here and there. Loved her in the pilot though. She's awesome. Girl was and still is a complete knockout. Time to bring Rachel again to Suits and continue the best series of the millennium. Let's be real here. We are all in love with Rachel Zane. I loved it till the end. I wish they wrote more scenes of Jessica and Rachel together. The flashback when Jessica hired Rachel and Rachel approaching Jessica about bending the Harvard rule are two of my favorite scenes in the show. Mike should never have gotten back together with her in my opinion. I just want to know if she was playing a character or herself. Is there a single episode or scene where she isn't in a pencil skirt? She's hard to get, just like the alphabet. I'm liking a character less and less with each episode. Would you be with someone waking up every day with the fear of them getting caught and possibly going to prison? Would you wait for someone for 2 years? They didn't know about a deal existing when Mike went to prison. I'm not a Rachel fan. I like her, but she isn't my favorite. But those are the facts. She was a whiny baby and attention seeker. I know it may not be real, but all those prejudice and bad writing makes me hate her even more. She was somehow manipulative and selfish. When Mike had all the advantage and almost settled with Logan, Rachel made one suggestion which completely screwed up the whole thing to her advantage. When Lewis lost his job, she didn't go out of her way asking her dad because she's afraid her dad would ask more. I found that she always centers and prioritizes herself. I feel very sorry for Mike. What a self-centered cheater. She kissed Mike even though she knows Mike was with Jenny, and kissed Logan even though she was in a relationship with Mike. Very poorly written character. They gave her more importance without putting much effort into writing. On the other hand, look at Jessica. Look at how good her character and writing was. She never came across as smart enough or tough enough to be working for that firm. Whenever she would swear, I'd laugh. It just didn't suit her voice or character. Her absence didn't leave a hole. She was a secondary role in my opinion. So annoying. Seems like she cries in almost every episode. Ugh, enough already. Claire Danes in Homeland was equally annoying for the same reason. The epitome of red flags. I'm watching Suits now for the first time on season 3 and I just like Rachel so much. She makes everything about herself. It's difficult to believe Mike would be into someone like that. She doesn't really have a personality. Like, sure, she's nice and competent and sometimes vulnerable, but like, she has no interests. Like, Mike and Harvey have movies and Harvey has sports, or like Lewis has opera and Donna has theater. She's kind of an empty shell of a person, and I feel like it's because of the acting and performance. It's somehow kind of hollow. Easily the weakest actor on the show. I skip over most of her scenes unless it involves another main character. She's my favorite, but she's also not the worst either. When Mike's trial was happening and was threatened to go to jail, she made every freaking decision about herself, crying on every scene she had. Pretty much a toxic character for me, because I love you was her comment every single time. I was sick of her the entire season. She has more outfits than acting skills. She's annoying, but she's a lovely flower compared to Donna. It's not after what. I just hate her. I hate the way she's so overdramatic about everything. She pretends to be a strong, independent woman, but when anything happens to Mike, she can barely function. I hate the way she constantly whispers during dramatic conversations. She's so entitled and she can do whatever she wants and doesn't understand if people don't want to forgive her or put her on a pedestal. I love the dynamic between Harvey and Mike. I'd have preferred the show to be focused more on that and the lawyering instead of Rachel and Mike's romance. Rachel bores me. I liked Donna until she became COO, and then she started boring me as well. There's almost always gonna be weak characters, and unfortunately she was one of them. Perhaps for diversity and depth, and I think that most people don't like her because it was meant to be that way. Her character was boring, only interesting in the random makeout scenes and cheating on Mike with Logan. After the Logan thing, Rachel is a hard no for me. Harvey was more loyal to Mike than Rachel. That's why I love Katrina so much more than Rachel. Rachel is straight up a home wrecker. First, she had an affair with Logan, a married man. Then she kissed Mike, knowing he was in a happy relationship, and now this. While Katrina, on the other hand, didn't once kiss Brian, also a married man, even when she caught feelings for him. I respect Katrina so much for keeping her feelings and desires to herself, while I lost all my respect for Rachel. Rachel spent the whole 7 seasons trying to convince everyone that she's tough and tough enough. She breaks down twice a season on stupid things, like being in a deposition with her dad, LOL. I never liked Rachel's character. She just made every situation about herself, but then cannot really blame her as her father never believed in her, and she wanted to prove a point all the time. I hate Rachel with all of my heart. She had so much ambition in the first few seasons. Now she's whiny. I don't like what they did to her character. She was an awesome female character. I feel like they took her development and gave it to Katrina instead. I like the storyline of her being stressed and burned out in season 4 because she was working as Harvey's associate and going to law school. Her passing out moment that I remember vividly because they made a point to show that she had a lot on her plate. Too bad anything she did in season 4 got overshadowed by the Logan Saunders cheating plotline. I was a fan of hers the majority of the time, but everything with Logan did take her down a couple pegs. Now though, all I can think of is when I see her is how annoying the actress is. I thought she was a powerful character in the start, but when she didn't confront Lewis for screwing her on a law school payment agreement, I lost respect for her. Even if she did get Jessica to give her an advance, she could have at least confronted him. Her character got ruined after she and Mike got together. In season 1, she was an awesome character, even season 2, but once she got with Mike, she just got annoying. I didn't like her at first. Then I grew older and began relating to her a lot. I have to admit, there was something about her in season 1 that was incredibly sexy, that deteriorated season by season. They went through a phase where her tops really got small and like sleeveless. Looked more like clubwear for a while. I was glad when they pulled back on that and made the women look more classical or professional. She's pretty awful in the first couple of seasons, but I do think she gets better. I never really understood her reason of becoming a lawyer. She always says how her dad is smart and her mom was beautiful. She wants to be a lawyer? The passion wasn't there. I also find it very interesting that Harvey would get into Harvard Law, but Rachel couldn't. I really don't see Harvey having a stellar undergrad GPA, and he was working in the mailroom while Rachel was working as a paralegal, actually contributing meaningful research. Man, I thought she would go on to become an awesome lawyer, but she went on to become a duchess. She looks like Meghan Markle. It's bad enough that she kissed Logan, but then she hounds Mike for asking Space like, man, how unlikable can you be as a character? Rachel's office changes in every clip. She's one of those women who is a tease, and when you get her, she says you're boring. Some of the clothes she wore were not working for her. It's as if she forced herself in them. There's something wrong from her torso to her bottom. I want to watch the show, but she's just a horrible person. Why does she always try to sabotage a relationship? She gets hated far more than she deserves. Most people hate her for 1. Hiding the fact about her father so people don't treat her differently. People think that kind of person is too good to be true, but for anyone who's dominated by his or her father, it makes sense. 2, kissing Mike while knowing he's already in a relationship. Come on, we all knew that Mike wanted to be with her. 3, overreacting every time when she learns a secret. I mean, it's what the normal person would do. 4, asking Mike to rat out Harvey to save himself. This is the most highlighted reason why people hate her, because Harvey is the star of the show, and asking Mike to turn on him is obviously gonna get her hate from the entire Suits fan base. She has her good qualities and bad qualities. She has her great story arcs and her bad story arcs. There are times when she's super strong and times when she's a whiny baby. So I don't know if she's complex or inconsistently written. Better than Donna, still worse than anybody else. She basically wants to be poor and rich at the same time. She is spoiled AF. What an unrelatable character. Did she ever finish law school before leaving for Seattle? I'm finding it extremely hard to like her after the passive-aggressive comments toward Jenny. Kissing Mike out of nowhere when it was talking about someone he's seeing, Jenny, and just overall being very hot and cold towards Mike. Anyone else agree that Rachel Zane, being able to juggle being a first-year law student, arguably the hardest year of law school at Columbia, working as a part-time attorney and having a boyfriend is almost too unrealistic? I mean, the number of hours that being a first-year law student requires are ridiculous, and the first-year associates at law firms are worked until ungodly hours of the night as well. Every time she's come out in season 4 so far, I just can't help but think how unrealistic her character is becoming. I consider that maybe she's in a summer break, but she mentions in the first episode that she's at school already. Morgan Freeman voice.
However, she would soon find out that she was indeed not tough enough.
Her character had no real impact to the story, in my opinion. The whole romantic storyline with Mike felt forced and unnecessary. It seemed to give him a sort of side quest aside from all the other adventures with Harvey. She did her little moments throughout the show, but did not make any meaningful difference to the flow of the story. So I've watched the show at least 10 times for both entertainment and educational purposes. I'm a film and television production manager, and yes, I use this excuse to watch Suits over and over and over again. Anyways, after watching it that many times, I honestly don't think Rachel is a significant character. With or without her, Mike meets Harvey, becomes awesome with Harvey, eventually goes to prison, then moves to Seattle, comes back for season 9 to kick Faye in the face. I think that if Mike had never met her, then there would have been less arguments between Harvey and Mike about telling the truth. I mean, sure, she's had some interesting parts here and there, but nothing significant to alter the sequence of events. Any thoughts from anyone? The fact that it doesn't affect the sequence of events doesn't mean it's not a relevant character. She provides a lot of conflicts and helps with a lot of them. She also helps with the character development. If we use your logic, Louis Litt was irrelevant because even if he wasn't there, the sequence of events you described would have stayed the same. She destroys the whole show so far. I'd be really surprised if there are any fans of her. She was not likable at all. I mean, I guess her ambition was kind of cool. I didn't like her as a person, but I liked seeing her being good at her job and climb and get school paid for. Having a competent junior black woman under Jessica was really cool to watch on television, as well as them making her non-negotiably black was refreshing. I liked her personality overall, but I didn't like most of her storylines. I did not like her in season 5 and part of 6 until she got involved in the Innocence Project. I thought she got too whiny and unrealistic about the consequences of Mike's crime. 2 years was not a horrible, unreasonable sentence, and him not being able to join the bar later and her not being able to for covering it up were logical consequences. She basically thought there shouldn't be any consequences, but she did bounce back in season 7, I felt. I think some of the problems with her, and to an extent Donna, is that the heart of the show is Mike, Harvey and their relationship, so everything else is secondary. Secondary plots, secondary development, etc. I know many want to discount her contributions to the show, but I felt like Rachel was the heart, and when she left the show, it kind of fell apart for me. I always hated that they never really gave Rachel an interesting character arc until the Leonard Bailey case. I like how her relationship with Robert improves very naturally, but ultimately the daddy issues plot was somewhat unappealing to me. Boy, it is so irritating to rewatch the Suits episodes with Rachel Zane and Donna Paulson. If there is a censored version of Suits without both of them, I would really love it. Her wardrobe throughout the series was one of my favorites. I like that they kept her in pencil skirts so you didn't notice her little legs. Honestly, her style was A+ on the show. I loved her trench coats and bags. Yes, I hated her from the beginning. I have to say she plays an only child character very well though. Potentially unpopular opinion, but if you dislike the character, it probably means she's a better actress than some may think. I like how she always tried to be on the straight and narrow, but then feelings came into play with Mike, so she stood by him no matter what. To add, I think all of the characters in Suits are supposed to be complex and somewhat unpredictable due to their changes and growth over the course of 9 seasons. The on-screen chemistry between Rachel and Mike is insane. Say what you will. No woman can type. I used to follow every Rachel's Office fashion, mostly her pencil skirt things. She's so pretty and classy. I love her voice. It's got that lovely lilt. She looks great even though she's an unlikable person. I don't get what all these people are saying. I was very surprised by how good an actress she was. I miss Rachel on Suits. Well, she might as well go back to movies. She used all her acting skills during that Oprah interview. I'm a foodie. Funny enough, she really is a foodie in real life. She wasn't even acting when she didn't want people to know who her dad is. It's okay, I won't be here that long. Pun intended, if you know what I mean. What was your favorite or not so favorite Rachel Zane moment from Suits? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you again next time. Tra-la-la.